Hey, what's up, everyone? Ill Factor from beatacademy.com. Now, throughout my years of producing music, there's certain set of plugins that I enjoy using, that I know inside and out, that I love the results it gives me when I'm creating music or mixing the music that I'm working on. But oftentimes, there's new plugins that get introduced and that I get added to my library, and I'll go through certain seasons where I'm using those new plugins. So I figured, let me just create a video sharing with you my current top 5 plugins that I really enjoy using in this current season that I'm in. Now, oftentimes, plugins are just great tools to use to shape the overall sound that you're working with, but they can also be very inspiring to even go in a whole new direction or just to initially start a spark of creativity to begin with. And so that's how I feel about this first plugin I want to introduce. It's called Shaper Box 2 by Cable Guys. I have it here. And what's cool is that you can basically shape the sound by tweaking any one of these attributes, the filtering, the panning, drive, bit crushing, width. So let me show you a couple cool things about this. So let's put a filter. We're basically going to be filtering the sound. And I can lower the cutoff this way, or I can just bring the cutoff down here as well. So just by filtering it out, we get a basic typical filter plugin. And I can draw in my points and actually map out or draw my filter curve so that just like a regular LFO tool, it will follow the curve that I'm drawing to apply the filter to. And they've got a whole bunch of different types of shapes you can instantly just click to start with. These are basic, these are the edge. You have different type of rhythm presets here, different envelopes that are different slopes that are being drawn out to trigger the filter. Let's go back to our basic one and draw in our own little curve. So I'll draw that here. And the LFO could be set over to be in sync with your project by setting it to beat or hertz, which you'll get some really cool responses with. And so let's go ahead and maybe start it off with here. Same thing can also be done with the resonance here. We can have the cutoff and the resonance both automated separately, which makes this cool. And what I really like about this is that I can actually just filter out and split this into specific frequency bands so that it's only being applied to a specific band. So here we have the resonance and cutoff in a certain way. And then for the low band, I can go ahead and adjust my cutoff differently, separated from those two bands. And you can determine how smooth the LFO will react. We can go right here to the top. So really, really cool here. And as you can see, that's the first module that we've added. That's the filter that we are applying to the sound and shaping. Then I can go ahead and add another module here. So let's say we wanted to add, well, let's mess around with the time here. And so now this will allow us to adjust the overall timing of this audio. And again, this could be set to beat, which is every bar, every quarter note. Let's do every eighth note here. So you kind of get the idea. All this is absolutely automatable. You can draw in your automation so that certain parts of your arrangement can have certain BPM or just certain subdivision changes. You can change the length of these. So really, really cool. We can do instant. Not to mention tons of cool presets that are already included with this that you can just double click and they'll automatically set the modules up. But let's go through another one. We can do the volume, drive. We can add saturation at certain points of the waveform. So So if I wanted to just take or maybe have the time happen before the filter, we can do that as well. So in an arrangement, so to speak, what would make this really cool is that you can, let's say, have a chorus that has a certain riff that's happening. And then for a breakdown or a bridge, you can run a plugin like this to really kind of warp and take that sample or that riff or loop into a whole nother direction, which could be really cool throughout the arrangement of your song. So this can be cool. And then we can also just lower the mix overall that is being applied to the riff. So let me go ahead, bypass the time one here, and let's add another module. You can start to see what's going on here, right? We can add some digital noise. So I'm going to add a rhythm pattern here. And what I like about this is it gives you a set threshold that you can set where you hear the noise. So adding some white noise can also be another percussive element that can be added. So if you got like a vocal beatbox or something like that, you can add some white noise on there to really kind of fill up that higher end of the spectrum. This is such a powerful tool. Really, really been kind of just opening it up, tweaking it, and then recording all the stuff that I've been doing with it onto another audio track that I can then go ahead and use just for inspirational purposes. So Shaperbox 2 by Cable Guys, really cool plugin. All right, so for plugin number 2, well, technically it should be plugins for plugin number 2 because it's a bundle that I've got, and that's the Arturia Effects Collection 2. Comes with a lot of great effects on there that I've been really digging lately and I've been using in my productions. So let me go ahead and play just my drums here because I've got them running through a spring reverb from the Collections 2 bundle. So I have the plugin here on return track C, and I'm using the Reverb Spring G636. It sounds fantastic. And right now I have it set to the microphone input instead of the aux sound because I want to get more of that saturation and that overload that you get when setting it to the mic input. And always the advanced modes in these plugins are great. They actually let you kind of get a little bit more tweaking in the plugin itself to kind of, dial in the tone that you're looking for. So I've got, high pass set to about 170 because I don't really want to add that much spring reverb to the kick drum here. So, and then you have the different types of spring tanks or the actual the tone of the spring itself, which has been really cool, just navigating through. I let it set to the original one, and I really like the vibe. So in context with everything. And so on the scratch vocal that I have, I'm actually using another plugin from the same bundle, and this is the BL20 Flanger. Really, really cool flanger plugin here. And you can also go in depth with the advanced mode and kind of set the modulation for the flange, which is really cool. But I've got this inserted directly on the vocal to give like a cool, just a different outer world vibe to it. Now, before I introduce the next 3 plugins, I just want to take this time to remind you that if you're looking to get into producing your own music, maybe you just started or you've been producing for a while, and you're looking for professional guidance and mentorship to help you take that next step, then I want to encourage you to visit beatacademy.com and sign up and use any of the free resources I have available for you there. But look into becoming a Beat Academy member so you can take that next step forward with producing the music you've always wanted to produce. There's courses, there's monthly live coaching calls, listening sessions, a community, all these things to really help you achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve with your own music. All right, so beatacademy.com for more information. All right. So the next plugin and the next three plugins are actually free plugins that you can download and have access to today. So they're amazing. The first one I want to showcase is a plugin by Acoustica Audio, and it's called Coffee. And this is a great Pultec EQ-ish type of EQ. Very simple. You're boosting your low frequencies or boosting your high, right? Very much like a Pultec EQ, but there's some kind of added features on here, such as like the input pre-trim to give some saturation and a low cut frequency. So this is without it. I have this on the bass track. Now this is with it. Really adds some nice weight to the bottom end here, and it's just pretty straightforward. You're picking the low frequency that you want to boost. We got it here set to 70, and just crank the boost knob till you get the power that you're looking for. And then over here at the higher frequency, just giving a little bit of, I'm just kind of taking some of that away. So I'm basically cutting. Here's the minus. And adding this to give some crunch coming in. Subtle, but it does a great job, and it's free by Acoustic Audio. So definitely check that out. Now, the next two plugins are made by a company called Analog Obsession, and I've been obsessed with these plugins. They sound terrific, and you can just visit the website and download them to check them out. So this one is called the DB Comp, and for those of you who've been following my channel, one of my favorite plugins, compressors specifically to use on acoustic type drums or acoustic drum sets, which in this case is what I'm doing. I'm basically programming all these drums using the Addictive Drums 2. So these are programmed drums, and I love using this type of compressor on here. So let me just go ahead and solo this. This is without it. Now, it's not so much just the volume difference. It's basically how everything is now a bit more balanced. And you can really get a nice smack from your drums using this by just cranking the compression knob and lowering the threshold. What I do like that the DB160 compressor doesn't have is that dry and wet combination here and the high pass filtering. So I can kind of like make sure that, hey, anything from 118 hertz and below, don't send through the compressor. Just compress everything above that. And that's really cool because then you don't want to have maybe the kick drum being overly squashed sometimes. So great compressor to have and to check out. And then next is another plugin by the same company, Analog Obsession, and this is called ReLife. And this is just I have this on the master right now, and this is just a great tone. It's adding some tone, it adds some saturation. It kind of there's an EQ that it's embedded in here, and it's just one of those sweeteners that you want to add to your mix. So I'll go ahead and tweak a little bit so you can hear the difference. You can definitely hear how a lot of the boxiness of the mix just gets kind of like scooped out once you turn the shape knob up. And you can add a little bit of that saturation when you're cranking the input. And here you're just dialing the mix of that. And so live kind of is linked with the saturation and the input here. But it's just like one of those things where you just start messing around with. It's like, wow, this is really sweetening up the overall sound of my mix. It's kind of like a little cheat code. So really, really cool plugin to mess with and enjoy using. So there you have it. Those are some of my current plugins of, my flavor of the month, so to speak. Having a lot of fun using this in my projects. But again, plugins can be used both to inspire and to shape the overall sound of your music. Now, if you're looking for more professional guidance on how to produce your own music, once again, visit beatacademy.com for more information on how to do that. And as my gift to you for watching this video, I love to send you a sample pack filled with construction kits, loops, one-shots, Ableton Live templates that you can use for any of your projects with some effects, instruments, and this is all yours absolutely free. Just click the link below in the description box to download and have access today. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.